We do a lot of different things with people who are blind and partially sighted, but our main aim is to make sure that everyone who is blind and partially sighted is able to enjoy the same freedom of mobility that everyone else enjoys. So we see mobility as the basis of independence in life, that it helps you to get to the shops, to be able to socialise, to access healthcare. So it's a really basic right that people need to be able to interact and to contribute to society. So we work with them by pairing them with a guide dog, or helping them out with a service called My Guide, which pairs them with a volunteer if they're not really a doggy type of person. And we do an awful lot of different things like campaigning and raising awareness, which is probably why we're here today.
I had cane training from I was about 12. While I appreciated that I needed to use the cane, I wasn't that keen on it, to be honest. I felt very self-conscious with it, so I thought, I'll apply for a guide dog. While I could go places with the cane, I chose not to, but with the dog I sort of knew she needed to get out. So once I discovered the confidence of actually going places, I'm never in the house now. I'm getting on the train, and I'm going to different places, and it's not fizzling on me, whereas before, if I was to do that with a cane, I would be maybe more nervous, but with her, it's just great, and I can walk quickly, and people will talk to me, and it's just a whole different world.
The dogs make a tremendous difference to the lives of these people, and they love their dogs, and the dogs are important to them, and they're also companions, because very many blind or partially sighted people live alone. They also, some of them have very little earning capacity, so they're not going out to a job necessarily. Some are, and some are going to university and so forth, but a lot aren't. And to have a dog with them as a companion as well as a guide, I think makes a huge difference.
If you have a dog, you're never lonely, because everyone and his wife wants to come up and talk to you. They just, they see the dog, and it's a real conversation starter. People
don't do things to block the way of people who are blind and partially sighted on purpose. We know that. They do it mainly because they don't really know the things they're doing can be difficult for people with living with sight loss. So one of the biggest things that we have to do is education. It's about raising awareness for people, and that's what this initiative is about. It's about getting out into communities and giving people the experience of what it could be like to be blind or partially sighted. So the mobile sensory tunnel is about giving people a little bit of that experience. It's a bus that we see behind me that is branded out as a guide dog's bus that we have as an exhibition at the vehicle at the moment. But what we're going to be doing with the money that the Big Lottery have very kindly given us, is to deck it out as a sensory unit that will give people a bit of an experience. They will walk through the tunnel, and that'll give them a bit of a feeling underfoot of different types of surfaces, of different tactile pavements and things like that. They'll hear different environments around them, and it'll be a little bit disconcerting. And people really do get just how tough it can be to be blind or partially sighted.
The surfaces inside the sensory tunnel are all different. You've got different surfaces on the floor that you're walking on. So you've got brick, you've got simulated grass, you've got concrete, you've got tactile paving like you see at traffic lights, with the little bubbles. The walls had things like, again, brick surfaces, simulated hedging, glass, all the kinds of things, fencing, all the kinds of things that are on our streets and in our neighbourhoods, and just to give you an idea of what it's like to feel those things and try to work out in your own mind what they actually are and what do they mean for you as you progress along on your journey.
Well, it won't give people a total insight. It should give it should make them more aware. Maybe when they're parking their car, they might think, oh goodness, I'll need to leave room, so it'll just raise awareness. It means that maybe somebody will maybe come up and help if, say, we need help crossing the street or something. It might make people approach, because I think people are very scared of approaching anybody with a disability, and if it just breaks down that barrier and lets people know that we generally will accept help. I mean, Of course, there's times that we'll not need it, but if we need it, we'll accept it.
Funding is a real difficulty for us, and obviously in the current climate a lot of charities are really facing that difficulty. What Guide Dogs does is entirely funded by the public. We don't receive any government funding, so we rely on the generosity and the goodwill of the fantastic people who support our work, and we're incredibly grateful for it. We have an amazing bunch of supporters and volunteers who go out there and raise money for what we think is an essential service. It's giving people their lives back and giving that independence back. So we're still raising a little bit more money to hopefully convert the sensory tunnel, and we'll get it out onto the streets as soon as possible.